We all love events. I think we can agree on that. Microsoft, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, for that matter, when it comes to events in this gaming industry, we all love to cover it as content creators. And as consumers as well, we love watching what the future of these brands hold up. And it looks like Microsoft might actually be hitting the ground running when it comes to 2022. And now keep in mind, nothing we're about to discuss has been officially confirmed by anyone. But I want to talk about this and what could actually happen, what might not happen. But you guys know what it is. Before we get on with the video, definitely hit that like button if you guys enjoyed the video. You can always subscribe to the channel for weekly content. And don't forget to follow me at Twitter at LordAddictIOP. Without any further ado, let's talk about Microsoft, Xbox, and 2022 events. What's going on, you guys? Gaming Guide here, coming at you with another video. I think a lot of us can agree on that probably one of the biggest hype moments for the entire industry, for that matter, for the most part. I know PlayStation doesn't really do E3, but it's E3. It is one of those stages where we all come together and we celebrate the future of gaming in general with huge announcements, you know, any type of update whatsoever in the gaming industry. And for the past couple years, it's been very iffy if E3 is going to be a thing. But, you know, in terms of Microsoft, it does look like they're going to be doing something relatively close to that E3 feeling around that June slot. Now, nothing's been officially confirmed, and Microsoft themselves hasn't came out and said that they're doing anything related to E3 itself. But Jeff Grubb, we all know Jeff Grubb, man. He's probably the biggest leaker out there. He said that for the most part, he has been hearing, and he can speak on it a little bit more in the future, that it does look like Microsoft is going to be doing something E3 related in June. As far as what kind of scale, exactly how many they're going to do, that's to be seen. You know, we have to actually get to that point, and they have to actually formally announce it. Now, let's talk about something besides E3. We all know that XO is a huge thing that Microsoft used to do back in the day, and they really haven't did it in the past couple years, and mainly because of the pandemic. We know that Inside Xbox is a thing, and they haven't really done that either, mainly because of the pandemic. And I know a lot of people didn't really enjoy the Inside Xbox formula, and for the most part, I feel like there's a lot of valid criticism when it comes to Inside Xbox and how they could really restructure that and make it its own thing that actually works. Xbox has 30 plus studios, and when you have 30 plus studios, you're gonna have to eventually work out your own way of actually announcing stuff pretty thoroughly throughout the year. So I think we can all agree that this is something Microsoft really needs to work on in terms of if they're gonna do the Inside Xbox, is how they're gonna do it, and if they're going to do E3 type of conferences around the June time, and then, you know, maybe they'll bring back XO. Now let's talk about XO. XO hasn't been around in a couple years, but I think a lot of fans in general, we love the Video Game Awards, and we love that, you know, Microsoft holds a lot of their stuff for that event. But I think a lot of people can agree that, you know, we want Microsoft to keep a lot of their stuff to their own and do their own events. Now, let's talk about XO. Now, for those of you that don't know, Nick, he's from Xbox Air. He actually kind of hinted that maybe instead of doing something in June, they're going to be doing separate events. He actually said the current plan, from what I was told, was a show for May and one for September. Don't get any more details other than that. Yes, before you ask, I also found it all that they said May, when June is right there as the normal E3 spot. Keep in mind, Nick could be getting outdated information. But I think both people, as in Nick and Jeff Grubb, might actually be right. For instance, just because he says there's a show that's supposed to take place in May and September doesn't mean it's going to take place in those months. It might take place at the beginning of May, maybe in September, maybe even in October they can do it. I don't necessarily think that just because he said May and September doesn't mean it's going to take place in those months. Maybe it'll take place at the end of the month prior or the beginning of the month after these months. So let's talk about the May one. Now, I do believe that there is something coming in May, but I don't think it's anything on a high caliber type of scale. I'm pretty sure that if they do something in May, it's going to be something like an Inside Xbox. I just hope if they do something like Inside Xbox, it's going to be redefined and redone completely, because I think a lot of us can agree that that just needs to be redone. There's nothing wrong with showing a little bit of personality in terms of these shows. You don't have to be a Nintendo Direct, you don't have to be a State of Play, but people generally like these type of announcement formats because it's quick and gets to the point. Now, I feel like Microsoft can do something similar and get there to the point, then show the interviews that they generally show on Inside Xbox after they've done what games is coming out. And I think that's the best way to do it. Now, I feel like Jeff Grubb is definitely right in terms of the E3 conference. They generally do June. So I would expect an event in June that's the big event, the one that everyone looks forward to, the one that everyone streams, going to say the new games. I think we're going to get that in June, like normal. And then I think there's a chance that the September one that Nick is talking about might be an XO, might be in October, hell, might even be the beginning of November. It's really hard to tell at this point. Keep in mind, Microsoft has a lot of studios. Microsoft is in the process of buying Activision. They're going to need more outlets to actually formally announce something. People forget that, even though that Call of Duty is going to be a multi-plat for the most part. I think it's pretty safe to assume that at this point. They're still going to have to formally announce every Call of Duty from now on. And sure, Sony might get the marketing rights until this deal is over with, which I think's at the end of next year. But after that, Microsoft will be the one formally announcing every Call of Duty on their stage. And that takes time. And I don't think that's something that Microsoft wants to take every E3 stage. You could open up with Call of Duty every year if you wanted to. And I don't think a lot of fans want that either. We want, newer stuff at that event, not necessarily just Call of Duty every year. So you need to open up EXO. You need to open up, if you do the Video Game Awards, maybe give them a Call of Duty or, an Overwatch, something that people already know, something that you don't have to really take a whole lot of time with. And I think for the most part, that's what they're going to really stick with. To be honest with you guys, it's like I said, I believe Jeff Grubb and Nick are right. It did look like Nick was kind of assuming that just because these shows are going to be in May and September, quote unquote May and September, that maybe it was going away from its standard June thing, but I don't think that's the case. For some reason, I feel like we're going to get more events in general. We're going to get an event in May, whenever that time frame might be, and then we'll get an event sometime in September. Now, the May one could be the June one, but I don't think that is. I think we might get some kind of Inside Xbox the month before May, and then in June you'll get that big announcement that's the Starfields and whatever big they have coming out next year in terms of third party and second party support. Then you'll get that XO towards the end of the year, right before the Video Game Awards, maybe kind of giving us a teaser into what they're going to do at the Video Game Awards, or what they're going to just generally show and release at the beginning of the year after that. Now, obviously, Nick could be wrong about this, and maybe he got outdated information and there's not going to be an event in May and September, and it's just going to be E3 in June. I don't think that's the case. I feel like there's going to at least be something. Even if there's just an Inside Xbox in May and an Inside Xbox in September, October, there's going to be something that's not just E3, because Microsoft has too many outlets and too many games coming around the end of their development cycle where they're going to have to announce something pretty frequently, not just one time a year. But that's just my opinion on the matter. Anyway, put in the comment section below, how do you guys feel about events? Do you think Microsoft's doing fine with just the 1 year E3 conversation that we have, where they have that one conference one time a year around the E3 time frame, and then that's pretty much all they show besides something like the Video Game Awards and an occasional Inside Xbox, which we haven't really gotten in a while? I'm kind of curious to hear your guys' opinion in the comment section below. And until next time, this is Gaming Addict. I'm out of here. Peace.